Hi everyone, happy Friday. So for today's week 8 discussion, I'm going to start off with explaining what I found interesting in these weekly readings. So it's the three articles of this week. So one key insight from this week's readings is that conflict can be either destructive or constructive, depending on how it's managed. For example, Bradley in the 2013 article explains that tax conflict, when kept under control, can lead to better decision making and innovation in teams by encouraging open dialogue, critical thinking. But on the other hand, Curry in the 2017 article highlighted that unresolved conflict, especially when mishandled by HR systems, can escalate and harm team dynamics. Meanwhile, in the 2015 article by Ori, it stresses the importance of emotional intelligence and psychological safety in fostering successful and successful responses in the workplace. This really shows how leadership and organizational culture play a big role in whether conflict helps or hurts the business and the team dynamics as well. The readings made me realize that conflict isn't always the enemy. It's the way we approach conflict that can determine whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. So when people feel safe to speak up, conflict can actually, strengthen the relationships and team performance. Overall, these articles emphasize the value of a respectful team management and also respecting other people's, decisions or discussions. You have to have strong communication to resolve conflict. We can't just brush it off or keep it to the side or keep quiet. It's always very important to communicate so we can resolve the issue and improve the team dynamic and performance. So for question 2 is, what have you done when there has been conflict in a work group situation? So in the past, there was always conflict in how to divide responsibilities in work groups, like when I, integrate with groups. Although right now I'm doing a couple project groups and it's virtual and everything seems, on track. But in past experiences, I did, in groups, some people tend to kind of slack off on their end of their group project, whatever it may be. So sometimes that might lead to conflict. People might not want to work with that person, or that person just doesn't want to put in the work, and that affects the rest of the team. And sometimes someone else has to pick up the slack, and that's not right at all. So that's one of the main conflict that has this divided teams in my past from my experience. For question 3 is, do you ultimately believe that conflict is beneficial within limits? So yes, I do believe that conflict can be beneficial within limits as long as it's handled respectfully and it doesn't turn into a personal conflict that can, spark turn into something personal that could spark more issues. But conflict can spark creative thinking, uncover, hidden issues or lead to better outcomes. For example, in the 2013 Bradley, it described how task-related conflict can improve group performance when it's managed constructively. And I've seen that happen in my own teams. So at the same time, we're warned that unresolved or poorly managed conflicts can lead to toxic environments. And obviously, that's the case with every type of conflict, whether it's work, whether it's personal, whether it's family. If it's left unresolved, there's always going to be a shift in between, that person or the team, or that person and another person. So you can't just leave a conflict unresolved. You can't ignore it for the rest of your life. It will catch up to you. So you always have to, be the upper hand or get the courage to resolve that conflict. So encouraging open expression while maintaining mutual respect is the key aspect to everything. So it's exaggerated in the workplace competition in a funny, respective way, but it's also showed how ego-driven conflict can quickly derail productivity. So healthy conflict is about ideas, not personal attacks. So it's very important to, keep that in mind. So when people know how to listen and communicate effectively, conflicts become a tool of growth, not destruction. So I do believe that conflict can be beneficial, but there's always limits, and it really depends. Like, it's either workplace or family or relationships. But one key thing that you can't do is leave a conflict unresolved. It's just, it doesn't work out that way. Nothing ever, if you keep something unresolved, it's never going to get resolved. So you always have to, find a way to move past it, find a way to communicate, because without an unresolved conflict, then team dynamics won't work. businesses won't prosper. And yeah, it's very important. I don't think it's a destructive thing, but it can be destructive if you let it get that far. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for week 8. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.